this is my review of One Punch Man. Okay, so this episode was pretty good. So, in the episode, we actually got two major plot points. We got the declaration of Garo as the main antagonist of the series for the rest of the season, which I already said in my last episode video review thing. But anyway. And we also get introduced to the Blizzard group, who have an interesting way of recruiting heroes into their ranks. And I will cover both of those in order. So, first off, we have Garo, who declares himself a human monster and declares that he is indeed the threat that the prophecy warned about, and then proceeds to beat up every hero and villain in the room, and Sitch just cowers in fear as he calls for extra heroes. But then Garo just kind of walks off because he's bored. So, yeah. But the message that here is clear, that Garo does intend to become the god-level threat that's going to destroy the planet or something sometime in the next 6 months. He's going to train up to that point. And as we see at the end, he is going to do that by beating up other heroes. So he's not going to just stop at the 3 that were in the conference room with him. He's going to keep going and beating up any human he sees along the way. And that's terrifying. So, yeah. But anyway, while that's happening, we get an introduction to the Blizzard group, and we also see the fight between Genos and Sound Sonic, which is interesting. So Sonic shows up looking for Saitama, obviously, and Genos, sensing him outside, goes outside and confronts him in Saitama's place. And we don't really get to see that fight, but we find out that it has been going on for at least 20 minutes. Because 20 minutes later, the Blizzard group actually shows up. And Fubuki and her 2 orderlies introduce themselves and ask him to join. But the two heroes instantly butt heads over how a hero should behave. Obviously, Saitama is the whole doesn't really care about all the rankings and stuff, and just be the best hero you can. Whereas Fubuki is like, well, you need numbers to be able to move up the ranks in the first place. And so they butt heads a little bit, and she sicks her orderlies on him, which he defeats in a single punch, obviously. And then the 2 of them get into a fight because she's kind of upset for reasons that we'll see and reasons that I will go into in a little bit. But point being, during their fight, Fubuki basically tells Saitama how wrong he is, and Saitama tells her how wrong she is, and she realizes he's actually pretty strong, but not strong enough to defeat her, she doesn't think, until she sees him in action a few minutes later. So, a few seconds after this, we finally see the fight between Genos and Sonic, who have been fighting in the background for the past 20 minutes in showtime, as I explained. But so far the 2 haven't really fought each other to a foreseeable conclusion, and then the 2 keep fighting in front of Saitama and Fubuki, whom Saitama had to shield with his body, and realizes that something's going on. So the 2 get into a fight and try to finish off one another, and the fight ends to a standstill because Genos is only able to cut off Sonic's ponytail, and Sonic is unable to hit Genos because of his new upgrade, which makes him incredibly fast and unable to be caught up with. So eventually Saitama has to break it up because he realizes that Genos is probably going to destroy the neighborhood if he doesn't step in, and does some side steps which cause a giant shockwave which knocks Sonic down completely and stuns him for the rest of the episode. And Fubuki realizes that there's a reason he didn't join up in the first place if he was that strong. And she also realizes that Saitama is indeed Genos' sensei, and kind of freaks out a little bit internally. And also thinks it's a bit weird. That explains why she doesn't think she could ever be Class A at all, despite being the top ranking in Class B. So, as it turns out, and as I probably explained before, Fubuki is Tatsumaki's little sister. And Tatsumaki is a very powerful Esper, hence that's why she also has psychic powers. But she laments on the fact that even if she could climb up the ranks relatively easily, there are 4 heroes that get in her way. Specifically, all of Atomic Samurai's disciples, which make up the 4th through 2nd slot, and Amai Mask, who makes up the 1st. And true to point, to nail that point home for us, we see a scene of Amai Mask fighting a savage caveman who he instantly kills, even though he was instructed to bring it in alive, which he doesn't do and was purposely defying orders, probably because he's on the board of commissioners or something like that. I don't know. But from this, we can actually deter that Fubuki has a bit of an inferiority complex. I mean, she knows that she could do pretty well at Class A, but she doesn't move up because she fears that she'll never be good enough to join Class A or even Class S, and that's why she stays in Class B for indefinable amount of time. Which is interesting, and then Saitama consoles her a little bit and tells her that she could be the strongest she wants to be if she just applies herself. And then King shows up, and she realizes just how big a deal Saitama is. So what mainly happened is she believes that even Saitama won't be able to surpass Class A or even get to Class S in the first place. But after realizing just how much the strong gravitate toward him, she's not so sure anymore, because she saw Sonic and deduced that he was a Class S threat, or at least on the level of a Class S hero. And obviously Genos is a disciple, and now he's best friends with King, who we just met an episode prior in a full detail. So obviously she realizes her mistake and realizes that that Saitama might be able to surpass her eventually, but she's not entirely sure how well that's going to go for him, because he's operating alone for the most part. And yeah, that was mainly the episode. The episode was mainly to set up Fubuki's inferiority complex and set up that she believes that Saitama will never be able to surpass her, even though there's a lot of evidence to the contrary. For example, several S-class heroes and an S-class level anti-hero all gravitating toward him. And that's only the people she knows about. For the most part, she only knows about King and Genos and maybe Sonic. But there's also Bang from the first season, who hasn't made an appearance yet, oddly enough, and is interesting. And that's interesting that because now she's realizing just how much the strong gravitate toward him, and she's realizing that she might have been a little bit wrong, and that could have some repercussions for her character later down the line, but we'll see. But yeah, I'm interested to see how her character develops now, because now she's realizing that maybe numbers aren't everything, because people just kind of gravitate towards Saitama because he's strong and he doesn't really care about the ranks or any of that. So, well, that's interesting to see. And it's also going to be interesting to see the whole Garo arc carry out, because Garo was able to clear an entire room of people in a matter of seconds. That's not something a normal person can do. But yeah. And apparently we also see a bit of the corporate side of the Hero Association, about how they spent 15 minutes discussing Garo, who, should I mention, is probably going to wind up being a god level threat by the end of his arc, mark my words, but then spends the next 2 hours deciding on nicknames for Genos and Saitama, and obviously Saitama gets the nickname Caped Baldy, which is funny. But Stitch just storms out because he's pissed and realizes that they're not going to take it seriously. So clearly Stitch realizes that not many people are going to take it seriously, especially since they think one S-class hero is going to be enough, and it's not. They sent Silverfang after him, but that's really it. And it's going to be an interesting, I don't know. It was interesting to see the mentality behind the Hero Association, and they're kind of assholes. So, yeah, I don't really know how else to spell it out. They're assholes, except for maybe Sitch and a couple other people. Sitch is one of the good ones, apparently, but yeah, that's mainly all this episode did. It set up some plot points for the next episode about how Fubuki is now probably going to be a recurring character because she's going to continue trying to recruit Saitama into her ranks, even though he's not going to want to. But anyway, that's really it. It was also the thing with Garo. So, if you guys have seen this episode of One Punch Man, what did you guys think? Let's get a discussion going in the comment section down below, or over on my Discord server, link in the description. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Also, be sure to follow me on Facebook and on Twitter in the description below. And also, if you want to give me money, then Patreon, description, something like that. I don't know. I don't know why you wouldn't want to give me money, but give me money anyway, because it helps me make things like this. So, but anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. And until next time, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace!
I don't know. Tell me, game. Tell me. What is it supposed to do? Opening the brass plates in the back of the box expose more rotating cylinder.